Right now, this is about the only way he can move.
What about this for some pain medicine?
I might be paralyzed for the rest of my life. There were so many things I had. I'm a personal trainer. I wanted to go back to school, play college basketball. Walker, play with my son.
Tuesday, Walker says he had just finished his shift as an Amazon delivery driver when he stopped in this St. Charles Target parking lot to help a fellow driver. He admits he parked in a disabled parking spot. Prosecutors say 65-year-old Larry Thomlison confronted Walker.
A guy approached me and asked me why the hell I parked my van in a handicap spot. And I told him, look, I'm gonna move it. And he just kept harassing me.
Walker says Thomlison punched him and he fought back.
But when he pulled the gun out, my eyes were just amazed.
Prosecutors say surveillance video shows Walker trying to run away when he was shot in the back, paralyzing him from the stomach down.
A handicapped parking spot in front of a Target between the Amazon driver and this 70-year-old Larry Thomlison has altered both of their lives. Let's keep it real. As you heard, if you couldn't tell completely what Jaylen was saying, they had a confrontation, punches were thrown, and then gun was pulled out and he was shot in the back in his spine. Now he's paralyzed. There's Larry Thomlison. He's 70 years old and he's been convicted of first-degree assault and criminal action. Who knows how many years he's gonna be getting for that, but considering he's 70, not seeing too much else happening to him except for that. Now lawyers for Walker, the Amazon driver, point out that Thomlison is an experienced gunman and actually has some training. And I guess at some point he wanted to use that training to shoot people. He just forgot the training part about other humans around. Again, this is a public parking lot. Watch this.
He's been through the St. Charles Citizens Police Academy not once, but twice. He has his concealed carry permit. So he knows when he's authorized and when he's not authorized to discharge a weapon.
While his future is now uncertain, Walker says he's already trying to move forward.
I forgive that man. I forget what he had done.
This is one of those confrontations here, Miranda, that always bugs me because, from the beginning, somebody's in the handicapped parking spot. Why the first response has to be get your F out this? Who knows? Whatever he said, but it was angry. Then phones and cameras are coming out. Confrontations happen, and whenever you get to the point where someone, especially maybe this guy that you first see, Thomlison, rolls up with this kind of fervor and this kind of confidence in confronting people in the middle of a lot like this, the first thing I've wondered is this guy has a weapon. And sadly, though, Jaylen didn't predict that possibility and was completely surprised by this level of aggression over a parking spot. And now paralysis is here and prison time comes for the shooter here. Sucks.
Yeah, I understand. People park in handicapped parking spots. People use, the handicap stall in the bathroom when they shouldn't, and that's a problem, and that's frustrating. Yeah. And we take those things that we don't need and don't belong to us constantly. And I can understand how that would be incredibly frustrating for someone who does need it. However, the lack of ability that Americans have today to be able to talk to one another, to have a confrontation that is civil, and to be able to handle someone who's maybe rude. Maybe you thought he was rude because he was parked in the handicapped parking space. That is not a license to attack or shoot someone. That is not a license to, you can't take that into your own hand. And I think that that's what America has become. And that's especially, not that gun laws would have prevented this. It was a concealed carry. He had a right to have it. But what we've been saying with our gun laws is this is the Wild West. And you're allowed to, as long as you outshoot another guy, you're allowed to do whatever you want. Clearly there are consequences. He will be going to jail. But that man's life was ruined. He is now, they're both, like you said, both their lives are ruined now. One's going to jail and he's already 70. The other one is paralyzed. He can no longer live the life that he saw himself living. And the perception that everyone has now and what it's costing us to just hate anyone who looks at you wrong, parks in the wrong spot, the vitriol that we have for each other is astounding.
Everything has to be responded to with anger. And don't forget, every time there's any shootings that aren't over a confrontation, maybe a school shooting, mall shooting, all these things that happen every other weekend, then the response from many of our politicians is, more guns. So what if the Amazon driver had a gun? What if the buddy he was talking to had a gun? And he said, oh, my buddy's getting shot at. Let me start shooting back. And now we got crossfire. We got guns going this way, that way, and the fourth way. So that's our society, and perfectly called the Wild, Wild West. And this is what we're living in. Do we need more of it? For money, we do.